Hi, my name's Carter. I love talking about movies, music, games, and comics. If you're interested in any of that, feel free to stick around. I just saw John Wick Chapter 4 tonight, and I'm super excited to talk about it. Also, if it sounds like I'm trying to keep my voice down, my roommate is dead asleep in the other room, so I'm trying to be a little respectful of that, so might be a little bit quieter in this video. But I was super excited to see John Wick 4. Easily one of my top 10, top 5 most anticipated movies of the year. I'm a big fan of the whole trilogy. I just rewatched it again this week, and I still think that those movies are incredible action movies, some of the best that we've ever gotten in the genre, and I think that they're a masterclass in action filmmaking and can be a great lesson for everyone on how to film action, how to choreograph it, and how to properly conduct it in the movies. So naturally, I was super excited to check out John Wick Chapter 4, and thank the good Lord it did not disappoint. I'm so happy that we're living in an era where we have Tom Cruise and Keanu Reeves just doing the most insane things in their action movies. Tom Cruise does the big bombastic stunts, and Keanu Reeves is still doing incredible stunts, but it's more like hand-to-hand combat, like low-key. It's not jumping out of a plane, it's not climbing the Burj Khalifa. It's just incredible that we're getting, such dynamic action movies from two of these incredible stuntmen and actors. So, I'm just like, dude, I'm living in paradise right now. This is incredible. But starting out with the positives for Chapter 4, the action, easily the thing that people go to these movies for, the action is incredibly well choreographed, incredibly well shot, incredibly well edited. I've said the word incredible a million times. I just don't know what else to describe it with. Every action set piece is in the frame. It's shot incredibly well. It's very well lit, choreographed extremely well, and you can just tell that everyone working on these movies is a pro. They are just oozing with talent and oozing with creativity when it comes to the action scenes. There's not a second in this movie in an action scene where you don't know what's going on, where you don't know who is fighting who, and they just get more and more creative with it, and they're just doing more and more things within the genre. Like every John Wick film kind of tries to outdo the last one, go bigger, go badder, more bombastic, and this movie just blows it out of the water in the first act. There's an incredible sequence in Osaka, Japan that is just beautifully lit with neon, and there's people sword fighting, there's bows and arrows, there's guns, anything you could ever want in a John Wick movie, you get it in the first act. And then it doubles it and doubles it and doubles it, and it just keeps going throughout the movie, and I was just like in awe. This movie just does it so well and just does it so professionally that it just makes almost every other action movie I've seen in the last year and a half just seem so amateur. And I know I'm probably missing a few action movies here and there, I'm probably missing a few greats, but that's just how this movie makes you feel when you're watching it. You know that you're watching professionals, people at the top of their game, just perform, like show off to you. You can see them, and you can see the stuntman just giving it their all. Like that video of the guy throwing himself down the escalator that went viral on like Lionsgate social media. Incredible in this movie. You can just see Keanu Reeves in the car with the doors torn off, so you know that he's driving, you know that he's performing all of his stunts. It's just incredible. There's an action sequence near the end of the movie that's shot from a bird's eye view, and it's John Wick just like clearing a room, clearing multiple rooms. I'm trying not to give a ton away, but it is like the most jaw-dropping action sequence I've seen in years. It reminded me of like the first time I felt when I saw like the Daredevil tracking sequence, like the hallway fight scenes in seasons 1, 2, and 3, or the Mad Max Fury Road, or the Mission Impossible Fallout, like Halo Jump, just things like that you just like remember. And this movie, John Wick Chapter 4, has one of the best action sequences, maybe like top 3 that I've ever seen in my entire life. And I haven't seen every movie, it's a generalization, but it's just that incredible. This bird's eye view shot, everything is in frame. John Wick is just clearing rooms, and you can just see he's using like a dragon's breath incendiary rounds, and you can see that like people are just getting lit on fire, and they're just in frame, burning for like minutes, and you're just like shocked, like how do they do that? How do they film that? How do they make it so the stuntmen are just on fire? How do they cut it together so well? This movie is just extremely well made. It is such an incredible testament to action movies and filmmaking in general. It's like a masterclass. Like I don't know how else to explain it. If you are a movie fan, if you're an action fan, a stunt fan, you need to see this movie. It is an absolute, again, masterclass in filmmaking and action filmmaking and genre filmmaking. It's just mind-blowing to me. I could talk for like 30 minutes just about the action and how incredible it is, because it's just that good. Every stunt in this movie is perfect, every set piece is perfect, and they just manage to outdo themselves and just get more and more creative and more fun with everything in this movie, that it just had my jaw dropping the whole time, and I was just in awe. I was so happy. Of course, there are other great things about the movie too. The returning characters are great too. Of course, John Wick, Keanu Reeves is always great as John Wick. Even just the simple lines he delivers, like, yeah, it's just so, like, it's oozing with, like, charisma, you know, it's like, it's so fun. It's just so fun, and it's so awesome to see him on screen, because you can tell he loves playing this character. He just makes it so unique. Like, no one else could play John Wick. You know, no one else can do it like Keanu does, and I just love that about him, and I love that about the character. You have Winston, and played by Ian McShane. He's great in this movie. He has a ton of awesome lines that had the theater cracking up. Sharon, played by Reddick, who gets a little bit of screen time, but he just kills it in what he does. You know, rest in peace. We have Clancy Brown, which I was so surprised. He looks like the Shadow Man from Call of Duty. Does a great job. The new characters are great as well. You have Donnie Yen playing a blind man. He is one of the standouts in the movie. He's just effortlessly likable, and yet, you know, he's conflicted. He's obviously going against John Wick, and so you're not rooting for him, but at the same time you understand where he's coming from. And Bill Skarsgård is like so perfectly douchey and just arrogant. He's so much fun in this movie, you know, just his accent, and he's just so goofy. He perfectly belongs, and he's just so detestable. Hiroyuki Sanada, just, you know, incredible swordsman in this movie. Loved watching him play out. And then you have Shamier Anderson. Yep, I said that right. And he plays a really fun character in the movie. I'm not really going to give away too much, but he is, you know, an awesome kind of like side character that you get to follow throughout. And it's just so much fun seeing how like lived in this world is. The world is just ever growing, ever building, and you can just see that there's so much care and love put into like every aspect. Everything is like so over the top, yet just fits so well in this world of mercenaries and assassins, and it's ever growing. It's kind of rounding out the positives real fast. The story, the spectacle, all great. You know, the story isn't anything too crazy. There's a few times where I was a little confused, but I think that just might be on me. I was kind of in a theater where a lot of people were talking, and it was kind of distracting me throughout the movie, so I wasn't too sure. I missed out on a few details, but overall the story is sound. You know, it's very cut and dry, nothing too intricate, but there's a lot of fun like side plots in there, a lot of fun like side quests for John Wick to go on. And overall, it's a very strong thread picking up from the first three, and I feel like it does a great job of kind of closing out some of those things from the first three movies and giving us, you know, more John Wick, more character work for John Wick, which I really appreciated. I think there's a lot of great, you know, character aspects to John Wick, and I feel like they really did really well in this one. And I feel like this might be some of the best in the franchise when it comes to John's character work. So kind of ending out those positives, I'm very positive on this movie. I'm not going to have a lot to say for the mixed and even the negative. I think one thing, though, just a disclaimer, when you go see this movie, it's very unrealistic. You know, and if you're a fan of the trilogy, if you're new to the trilogy, Keanu Reeves as John Wick is like practically invincible. He gets shot, stabbed, limbs just contorted, he gets thrown around, hit by cars, everything in between, and he just shrugs it off. He walks it off. He's invincible, man. But it's just so much fun seeing how much punishment he takes, and he just gets back up. You know, everyone in this movie is at their A game. But yeah, it's very unrealistic, but it's just unrealistic to a fun point. It doesn't, you know, bug you. Just keep that in mind when you see the movie. Just keep that in mind. And going into the mixed, some of the motives for this movie just kind of confuse me a little bit. Not everything is clear all the time. There's a lot of shifting motives, shifting narratives. Part of that might just be because I'm an idiot. I might just have missed out on some things. I was so wrapped up in the movie that I just blatantly missed a few lines of dialogue, which I know I did. So I honestly could have missed a few very important lines of dialogue, but that was just something I took out. Really doesn't impact my score at all. I honestly think that every mixed thing in this movie, I don't have any negatives. Every mixed thing in this movie could be, you know, it's easily washed away by all the positives, by the action, by the characters, how much fun you have when you're watching the movie. The only thing that really might drag this movie down on rewatch is there's a little bit in the middle where it dips. The pacing kind of slows down. There's some extra like groundwork laid down, some extra scenes, and this movie is very, very long for an action movie, for a John Wick movie, and so some people will take issue with that. I really didn't. It didn't bother me at all. I love John Wick. I love the franchise. I'll take every minute we can get with him. Although I do think maybe we could have cut a few minutes out that weren't focused on John Wick. There's a few things in here that are focused on world building, focused on other characters that I enjoyed, that definitely contributed a little to the story, but it could have been trimmed down, you know, made a little bit neater in the movie. But that being said, overall, I loved this movie. John Wick Chapter 4 is a home run for the John Wick franchise. It's an incredible, incredible addition to an already jaw-dropping array of films. I love these movies. They're some of my favorite movies of all time. Incredible movie. Please go check it out if you haven't. John Wick Chapter 4 is, you know what? I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. I really enjoyed myself tonight. I had a ton of fun in the theater. It's very violent, very over the top, but it's also very funny, and it has a surprising amount of heart and some great characters in there. I would highly recommend it to anybody, and I'm very happy to say it's probably my favorite movie of the year so far. Have you seen John Wick Chapter 4? If so, what did you think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Do you think it's better than the first three? Do you think it kind of falls a little bit flat? What were your thoughts? I'd love to hear about it, and I'd love to see where you think it stands among the four. Just let me know down below in the comments below, and as always, have a great rest of your day.